Hello and welcome to another episode. I am Brian, the Unskilled Commander, and this is the road to 100. That's right, we are on our way to the 100th episode of the Unskilled Commander, and this is episode 99. We're almost there. As opposed to the best of 3 matchups that I normally do on the channel, starting with episode 95, we're doing the Gauntlet. I started with the 4 best decks I had. The winner of that match stayed where it was and continued on. Then each new match that you watch, same thing. Whoever wins stays in their spot. The other 3 decks gets booted and replaced with 3 more decks. So the first 2 episodes, we saw Imodane win amazingly well. Then we had Harbin, Vanguard Aviator, take it away from Imodane. And last match, we had the Slivers take it away from Soldiers. So here we are with Slivers and the new matchup, Rin Siri, Me the Immortal, Obeka Splitter of Seconds. We're going to jump right in and see how things go. Turn 1, going to draw for turn over here. Play a Bountiful Promenade. Comes in tapped unless you have 2 or more opponents. I do. So I will tap it for green. Off the word go, Violent Sliver. So 1/1, but all Sliver creatures you have Poisonous 1, meaning whenever it deals damage, they get 1 Infect counter. As we saw with Atraxa, that's Infect is a big deal. 10 Infect would lose the game. But that's all we can do right here. We're going to pass over to Rin Siri. Draw for turn. Going to play a Mirrored Landscape. Comes in tapped and we'll pass. All these decks better get some blockers out quick, otherwise there's going to be some Infect everywhere. Now, the Slivers deck doesn't have Proliferate or things to focus on the Infect. There's only 1 or 2 creatures in there that do that, I think. But over here for Me the Immortal, we're going to draw for turn. Going to play a Cinder Glade, comes in tapped. Unless you control 2 or more basic lands, I do not, so we will pass over to Obeka, Splitter of Seconds. Draw for turn. Going to play Dragon Skull Summit, comes in tapped unless you have a Swamp or Mountain. Boom, comes in tapped. So everyone's playing nice, fair, slow Magic, except for Slivers. We will pass over to turn 2. Slivers wants that crown. It wants to win all the way up to 100. So we untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Going to play a Swamp, tapping both, to play Leeching Sliver. Whenever a Sliver you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life. Sorry about that, forgot the life counter. Got so excited I wanted to jump right into the games and get these last 2 filmed, but I forgot to put that down. So anyway, Leeching Sliver, defending player is going to lose a life. So we're going to move to combat. We're certainly not going to let this slide, so Virulent Sliver is going to go at Obeka. They're going to lose a life and get 1 poison counter. We're then going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap over here, upkeep, draw for turn. I'm going to play a Razor Verge Thicket, comes in tapped, unless you have 2 or fewer lands. This time I do, so it doesn't come in tapped. We'll tap it for a Soul Ring, tap the Soul Ring, tap Sacrifice Mirrored Landscape to get 2 basic planes on the battlefield tapped. That's all we can do though, so we'll pass turn. Fortunately, Slivers has a really good advantage right now just because it has a couple creatures out and one of them has poison. So we come over here, we untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Going to tap a forest, tap the forest for a Soul Ring over here, tapping the Soul Ring and the Cinder Glade for Commander Sphere. So there we go, we got some decent ramp going on Me the Immortal side, but that's all we can do. We have no 1-drops, we will pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. Wow, I literally just top decked the Soul Ring. So we're gonna Spire Bluff Canal. Enters tapped unless you control 2 or fewer lands. We do, so it is untapped. We'll tap 1 for the Soul Ring and tap the Soul Ring for an Arcane Signet. We still have 2 mana left. So sure, we're gonna tap this and the Arcane Signet for 1 red and 1 other. Witch's Mark. We're gonna discard Soul Shatter. Now that could be, exile, each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the highest converted mana cost. So it wouldn't even get rid of the poison one. And it would only affect one thing. So I think we need to draw some cards right now. We discard card. If you do, draw 2 cards. So that's awesome. I will draw 2. And create a Wicked Roll. Oh, shoot. Well, that is unfortunate. I guess we should not do that. Darn it. Well, it's too late. We already drew the cards. So unfortunately, that's just going to whiff because I wasn't. Once again, I need to slow down. I need to take a break, take a breath. Like I said, I'm really excited about this whole road to 100. I filmed a bunch of episodes. This is the last 2. I can film them back to back, and I'm just like, go, 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 go. And I'm not reading the cards the way I should be. But we did draw cards, so drawing cards is never a bad thing. It's just we should have had a +1/+1 onto Obeka to help with the whole extra upkeeps thing. But we're going to go ahead and pass. On to turn 3. Draw for turn. Oops, up and tap first of all, then draw for turn. I will play a mountain for turn. Yes, unfortunately. We will tap 1, 2, 3 for Tempered Sliver. Sliver creatures have, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Now here's the thing. The only good thing for them with the Virulent Sliver is that it has Poisonous 1, which is also like Toxic 1 or Toxic 2, Poisonous 2. That is the number of poison counters someone gets, the 1. It doesn't matter, it's not Infect. Infect would deal the poison counter is equal to the toughness of the creature. So it doesn't matter how big Virulent Sliver gets, it's still only going to deal 1 poison counter. So that's a saving grace in that sense. Now, here's the thing. I'm tempted to go swinging around, but as I said, this deck isn't built around poison, so spreading it out is not going to help. We have to keep sending it to the same area. So what I'll do is I'll move to combat, Virulent Sliver at you. You're going to take 1 damage because of Leeching Sliver's ability, and then you're going to get another poison counter. And Leeching Sliver is going to go at you, Rin Siri, so you will take a damage off of it attacking and then an actual damage when it hits. Now, both of those connected, so they both get a +1/+1 counter, so they are now getting stronger. It's not looking too good for the other decks. We will pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. I'll play Rockfall Vale, comes in tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. I do, so we will go red, white, green, and 1 other. Nope, we're going to do this right. We're going to do this smart. Red, green, white, and tapping Soul Ring with 1 colorless floating to play Rin Siri Inseparable. It's a 4/4. Whenever you cast a dog spell, make a 1/1 cat token. Whenever you cast a cat, make a 1/1 dog token. Pay red, green, white, tap it. Rin Siri deals damage equal to the number of dogs you control to any target, and you gain life equal to the number of cats you control. I will now use that last white along with the floating colorless to play Intangible Virtue. Creature tokens you control get +1/+1. So now, when we start making tokens, they will be 2/2s, not 1/1s. And we have a very solid blocker to block against those guys, so Rin and Siri should be a little protected for a while. We will pass turn. Come on, me the Immortal. We're going to untap, upkeep, draw for turn. I will play Snow-Covered Island. We will tap red, green, blue, and the Soul Ring to play me, the Immortal. It's a 3/3. At the beginning of combat on my turn, put my choice of a +1 and a first strike, vigilance, or menace counter on me, the Immortal. Counters remain on me, the Immortal, as it moves to other zones, except for the hand or the library. And you may cast me, the Immortal, from your graveyard by discarding 2 cards in addition to its other costs. Alright, so we're going to move to combat. We are going to give it first strike. So she has first strike as of right now. We can't do anything with the 1 mana, so we will go ahead and pass. Untap over here. Upkeep, draw for turn. I will play a command tower. Now, unfortunately, I have to admit, I was kind of hoping that some would still be open on turn 3 or turn 4 for Rebecca to get through next turn. Regardless, we're going to tap red, black, command tower for blue, and arcane signet for 1 no. We'll do it right again. Soul Ring for 1 other and 1 floating to cast Obeka, Splitter of Seconds. A 2/5 with menace. Whenever Obeka deals combat damage to a player, you get that many additional upkeep steps after this phase. I will tap arcane signet and using the other colorless to play Tithing Blade. We've seen this before with Obeka. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Now, the good thing is the first strike counter stays on me, the Immortal, but they still get the tax just like everybody else. So 2 more to cast Rin and Siri, 2 more to cast me, the Immortal. Who are you going to get rid of? I think we actually get rid of this because putting the counters on things is actually a little bit more beneficial than... Actually, to be fair, I would honestly get rid of the poison one because it's not going to get through very often. And again, it's still, you would have to hit each opponent 10 times with that 1 sliver. This thing pings you when it attacks, and this one buffs them up whenever they actually get through. So that's a better choice. But now we have some pretty cool... Well, we have Actually, we don't have an upkeep trigger until we transform the Tithing Blade anyway. So we're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap, upkeep to turn 4. I'm going to play a forest for turn. Now, the bad thing is we don't have enough mana of the right color. We only have 4 mana to begin with, but we don't have blue, so that we can't get Sliver Hive Lord out, even if we on next turn. I will go ahead and tap red, white, and 1 other to play Lava Belly Sliver. Slivers have, whenever this creature enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker, and you gain 1 life. So we're going to gain a life. We're going to ping you for 1 just so everyone's taking some damage. Okay, well, I still have 2 people open, so we're going to go ahead and swing the 2/2 at you. 1, 2, but then you're going to take a damage from just swinging. The 2 here, you're going to take a damage from swinging, and then 1, 2. They both hit, so they will get counters. We are going to then pass turn. There's nothing we can do. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. I'll play a mountain. We will tap these 4 and Soul Ring for the tax to recast Rin and Siri. I have 1 open mana, nothing I can do with it, but we have a blocker, so we will pass. Now the problem is, me the Immortal, do we have enough mana to recast it? I think we should. So untap, upkeep, draw for turn. We'll play Vine Glimmer Snarl. It comes in tapped unless you reveal a forest or an island. There's a forest, so it's untapped. So then, blue, green, red, 1 other, 2 for the tax. Me the Immortal comes back, better than ever. we're going to move to combat and give her a vigilance counter. So she has vigilance and first strike. I have 1 mana open. Again, nothing I can really do with it, so unfortunately we're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, no upkeep triggers just yet, so we'll draw for turn. I will play Sulphur Falls. It does come in tapped because I don't have any mountains or islands. Now, unfortunately, I really can't flip the Tithing Blade. So what else can we do? We're going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and cast the enchantment Exquisite Blood. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. So swing away, Mr. Slivers. Oh, that's true. I forgot she has Menace, so I probably could get through. Well, I actually could get through on any creature or anything, but you know what? It's fine. I played that. We're going to stick to it. Pass turn. Might be the detriment. I don't know. Untap over here. Upkeep. Draw for turn 5. Okay. All right. Rejuvenating Springs. I have 2 more opponents, so it comes in untapped. So there's your 5. So we got blue, green, white, black, red. Sliver Hive Lord. When it enters the battlefield, I'm going to gain a life and someone's going to take a damage. We'll ping you. Now, the problem is I have a 3-3 and a 3. Okay, I got 3 3s and a 2-2, but none of them have anything special. And that's a 4-4 and that's a 3-3. So if I swung, and that's a 2-5. So the nice thing is if I swung both of these at her, she can't kill any of them, and one of them would get through. So that's probably the best bet. So we'll swing both of these at you. You're going to take 2 damage just off of me attacking, and then you're going to block. Doesn't really matter. You're going to block this one. It's going to take 2 damage. It's not going to die. You're going to take 3 damage. You're not going to die, but then 3 will get through, and then this gains another counter. And even if you could smack back, they're all indestructible anyways. It doesn't matter. Here's where things get dicey, folks. We're going to pass turn, untap, upkeep, draw for turn, play a plains, 2 white, and then Soul Ring for Giselle Goldmane. It's a 4-4 with first strike. I can pay 5 mana. Attacking creatures get +X/+X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. I cast a cat, which means I make a dog. And that dog is a 2-2 thanks to its intangible virtue. I still have 4 more mana, so I will tap that 4 mana, one of it being green. No, I will tap 3 mana. There you go, 3 mana, one of it being green, to play Beastmaster Ascension. Enchantment, whenever a creature you control attacks, you may put a quest counter on Beastmaster Ascension. As long as it has 7 or more counters on it, creatures you control get +5/+5. So we want to start putting some pressure on that. So I'm going to go ahead and swing Rin and Siri at you. It's a 4-4 versus your 3-3 with first strike. You can't kill it. It can kill you, so you'll probably take the 4. And more importantly, Beastmaster's Ascension gets a counter. Quest counter. That's all we can do over here. We're going to pass turn. Alright. Untap. Upkeep. Draw for turn. I'm going to play a forest. I'm definitely going to tap that forest for a Gronk, which is a Spore Frog. 1-1. Sacrifice Spore Frog. Prevent all combat damage that we dealt this turn. So 1 green and 2 for a total of 3. For the creature Kodama of the West Tree. It's a 3-3 with reach. Modified creatures you control have trample. Modified just means some sort of counter, which me the Immortal is, so she now has trample. And whenever a modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, search your library for basic land, put it in the battlefield, shuffle. So that's really nice. We still have 4 mana, and I am going to go ahead and tap 3 of it, one of it being red, for another enchantment, Aggravated Assault. Pay 5 mana, untap all creatures you control. If it's a main phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. You can only do that as a sorcery. So we are going to move to our combat step, and we're going to give her a menace counter. So she's got menace, first strike, and vigilance. Can she get in anywhere? She can get in on Obeka, and you know what? She's got, let's see, 2. Well, that we definitely don't want to go there because the commander is a 5-5. And so she's got vigilance, so we can swing and not have to worry about it. So yeah, we're going to swing at you. You're going to take 3 commander damage from her, and that's all we can do. We're going to go ahead and pass turn. Not looking too good for Obeka, even though I thought she was going to start out strong. We're going to untap. We have no upkeep triggers yet. We're going to draw for turn. Going to tapping Soul Ring, the Dark Summit, Dark Dragon Skull Summit, and a Commander Sphere, so 2 black and 2 others for the enchantment Court of Ambition. When Court of Ambition enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. At the beginning of my upkeep, each opponent loses 3 life unless they discard a card. If you're the Monarch, they lose 6 life instead unless they discard 2 cards. I'm going to tap Arcane Signet for a black, and this for 1 other, to play the creature Creeping Bloodsucker. At the beginning of my upkeep, Creeping Bloodsucker deals 1 damage to each opponent. You gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. And gosh, people took damage and I didn't gain life, did they? Shoot. Well, we know it was, well, we took 3, so that's not going to count. It says when an opponent. So when they swung here, that didn't count, but you took that 4 damage, so we actually gained 4, and then you hit me, so okay, so they're all right. That's good though. We gained some life off of that. So she's got Menace, but unfortunately, here's the problem with her: she can't get through anywhere unless we get her something better, and that's the problem with Obeka. Once you get a couple turns in and everyone's got more than one creature, you're really hard pressed to get her through. Unless you luck out and get a Reliquary Tower or something, or Trailblazer Boots that give them a block, which they're in here, but we're not sure when we're going to get them. So we're going to move through combat, move to our end step. We're the Monarch still, so we're going to draw a card. Pass turn, untap onto turn 6, draw for turn, play an island. And I'll just dump my 2 creatures that I got here. 2 for Hatchery Sliver, replicate, well that's true, wait a second. Replicate, I believe, means I just keep paying that, and for every time I do, I make another one. I make a copy of that. Yeah, you know what? It's not going to matter too much. So we'll play that. We'll play Hatchery Sliver. Each Sliver spell you cast has Replicate. The Replicate cost is equal to its mana cost. So basically, you pay that and you make a copy of it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tap black and 2 others to then play Siphon Sliver. Slivers I control have lifelink. I don't have enough mana to replicate that, and lifelink wouldn't stack anyway in that sense. But 2 slivers came in, so they will deal 2 damage to you since you have the highest life total besides me. Now we've got 4 creatures that we can go swinging with. What is the threat? Obeka has upkeep trigger stuff out. You did lose 2 life, so that means Obeka gains 2 life. So maybe we go after Rebecca again, because every time we do damage, she's going to get stronger. And unfortunately, that is probably the smartest thing to do, because they have Spore Frog, so if we swung at them, they would just sacrifice it to protect themselves. I hate to get rid of, I thought maybe Obeka could take out Slivers, but it looks like that's not going to be the case. You're going to take 4 damage immediately, because they're attacking. They also have lifelink, which is even worse for you, and indestructible, so you can block one of them. So this is 3, 4, so we can block the 4/4 with our 2/5. 5 commanders going to get through, and then 3, 4, 5. So then this goes up. The Hive Lord now is stronger as 6/6, and this goes up by 1 as well. So we gained 14 life. Looks like everyone's got their work cut out for them. I think Slivers might be the one to take it all the way to 100. Which is crazy, because whenever I play Slivers against my friends, it never does this well. And it's understandable, because they blow the stuff up, and I'm not getting any kind of removal or anything right now. So we're going to pass turn, untap, upkeep, draw for turn, tap 2, and play Idol of Oblivion. Tap it to draw a card, activate only if you created a token this turn. Really need to draw cards right now, and unfortunately I can't. 1, 2, 3, 4... to play Parallel Lives. Fantastic card for this deck. Enchantment. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many instead. But I don't have anything that's made, and nothing in my hand can make tokens. And I didn't play a land for turn because I drew Parallel Lives. So I will play Ganjo, Seat of the Empire, tap it to make a white. You can also channel it. So, but like I said, it comes in tapped. Or no, it doesn't. Sorry. So I do have mana. I got 1, 2, 3 mana, but unfortunately I can't activate the idol. Oh, and you damaged me, so you're the Monarch, so you get to draw a card at your end step. It was just another land, thankfully, for everybody else. Nothing else we can do. We'll pass. We're going to untap, upkeep, draw for turn. I will play Karn's Bastion. Well, that sounds pretty good. We're going to do that. We're going to tap 7 mana total to play Angrath's Marauders, a 4/4. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player instead. We are going to move to our combat. This time we will give her a +1/+1 counter. We are going to move, that was combat, and we will swing her at you. She has Menace, so you have to block with both creatures that are up. She's got Vigilance, First Strike, and Trample, and her damage is doubled. So if a source would deal damage, it deals twice that damage. She's going to hit for 8 damage. The best you can do is block with the 2 of them for 4. You'll take 4 damage, 4 commander damage, and you'll lose both those creatures. So you just let it through. She hits you for 8 damage, which is great, but now we're going to be... But again, we have that whole nice grump that we can use, but that's all we can do. Oh, wait a second. When a modified creature deals combat damage to a player, and I missed that the last time, but we get to search for a basic land, put on the battlefield tapped. I'm going to put a mountain on the battlefield tapped, shuffle, then we will pass. We're going to untap, upkeep. We do have upkeep triggers. So at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses 3 life unless they discard a card. We are not the Monarch, but you are. So first of all, hang on. Get to draw an extra card. Sweet. Do y'all want to discard a card? So they, in fact, the Slivers will, because they have 2 lands. They'll just discard a plains. You know what? Rin Siri does have a sorcery speed board wipe, so they're going to go ahead and take the 3. I think they might take the 3 as well. So we have Exquisite Blood whenever an opponent loses life, so they took so we gain 6. And at the beginning of your upkeep, beginning of your upkeep, Creeping Bloodsucker deals 1 damage to each opponent, and then you gain life equal to the life lost this way, so you gain another 3. You gain another 3 because of Exquisite Blood. Now we're starting to get somewhere. So we draw a card for turn. Going to go ahead and tap a red and 1 other. To play Highway Robbery, we will discard Plarg and Nasari. It would be a great, I just feel that it's a great card for the deck when dealing with other people. For me doing it, I'd be like, well, how am I supposed to choose properly without really, because I know what cards are in hand, so it's a whole thing. Highway Robbery says you may discard a card. We did. If you do, draw 2 cards. We're going to go ahead and tap 1, 2, 3, 4 to play Darksteel Reactor. It's indestructible. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a charge counter on Darksteel Reactor. When it has 20 or more charge counters, you'll win the game. If only she could get through. But again, she's a 2/5 with Menace. That's not getting past anything without her getting destroyed. And they couldn't, you could swing in there, they couldn't destroy her, but she wouldn't get through. And she has to deal combat damage to a player. She could destroy one of them, which would be nice, because here's the thing. They still have 47 life, so in terms of damage, yeah, they don't care about taking 2 damage from Obeka, but that would trigger 2 more upkeeps, which would do a bunch of stuff. So they're not going to want to let that happen, because that would deal more damage, I would gain more life, and Obeka would start to get ahead. And I want to do it, but at the same time, we need to leave up some blockers because they're going to keep swinging in on us, especially since we're gaining life, although Me the Immortal has got some stuff going now as well. Unfortunately, I don't think I can do anything else. I literally have 1 mana open, so we're going to go ahead and pass turn. We can, now that we have that Plarg and Nasari in the graveyard, we can actually do the Tithing Blade, which would be a good idea next turn as well. All right, so we're going to untap everything. Upkeep to turn 7, draw a card. We're going to play the Morphic Pool, and we're going to tap 3 for Blur Sliver. Creatures you control have haste. We played a Sliver, we're just going to make you take a damage. The question is, what do we want to do? Now, I'm tempted to just swing the whole board at you, dealing a ton of damage, and we gain a ton of life, so I guess we really wouldn't need to worry about the crackback. However, we do have 8 damage from Me the Immortal. She has an ability to take 2 combats per turn. She could kill us because she has Menace if we just left up the Blur Sliver. So we have to leave 2 creatures up. So I say we leave these 2 up for sure to block. We definitely want to swing the Hive Lord because it'll just get bigger if it connects. And I don't think she's really going to block. And that's part of the problem. Well, not for us, but for her. So we're going to swing the Hive Lord. This is a 4/4. This is a 4/4. Now, again, if we swing these 2, she can kill one of them. And obviously, she would kill the one that says, oh, we do have Replicate. I don't think we want to double the haste either. Now, of course, the important thing is literally just being like, well, we're just getting more slivers. So I guess that is part of it, but we don't have any more red. Because it says the Replicate cost is equal to its mana cost. We don't have an additional red to do that for anyway. So I guess, really, we just swing these 3. Now this is a 4/4, right? So she can block one of them. She can block this one. It doesn't kill her. She doesn't kill it. But unfortunately, she will take 6 commander damage and then another 4. And we have to be careful of that commander damage because now that's up to 11 commander damage. A couple more hits, and because it connected, it's going to get bigger, and this is going to get bigger. So it's a very, very uphill battle. There isn't much else we can do. Well, there isn't. I have no cards in hand, so we're going to pass turn. We're going to untap over here, upkeep, draw. We're going to tap Soul Ring for Horn of the Mark. We saw this in one of the other games, but we also didn't get to use it then. Whenever 2 or more creatures I control attack a player, look at the top 5 cards in my library, reveal the creature card from among them, put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. There's just no good attacks. Like, I could swing these 2 to trigger it and look through the top 5 to get a card that I could play on second main phase to trigger all this stuff. But they would get destroyed, so then I would basically be back to square one. I might come out of it with 1 extra net creature, and nobody has enough life to let it through, like to try and politic and be like, look, will you let me send, 6 damage your way just so I can hopefully get some more creatures and help with slivers? But yep, so we're going to have to go ahead and pass again. Untap over here. Upkeep, draw. Now hang on a second. Nobody attacked Me the Immortal, so she is still the monarch. Tap 7 mana. Nope, hang on. Can't do it just yet. Gotta play smart. So we're going to move to the beginning of our combat. We're going to put another +1/+1 counter on Me the Immortal. We are going to declare her as an attacker on you. In response, we're going to hold priority, and then in response to us declaring attackers, now we pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to play Great Train Heist, choosing all of the abilities. So we're going to untap all creatures I control. If it's your combat phase, there's an additional combat phase after this one. They're already untapped because of vigilance, whatever. Creatures I control get +1/+0 and gain first strike until end of turn. She already has that, but whatever. And then choose target opponent. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to that opponent, create a tapped treasure token. So what that means is she's 3, 4, 5, 6. She is 6 trample, menace, vigilance, first strike damage coming at you. However, with Angrath Marauders, that is 12 damage coming at you. And that's 12 commander damage coming at you, on top of the 8 you already have. So that puts you at 20 commander damage. And then she gets another combat where she's going to do it again. So you're well, you're not basically dead because you have blockers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 off of the 12 would mean 3 gets through, but they would all die because of first strike damage. And you couldn't kill her back anyway. Then it would happen again, so you might still die, because 3 onto the 8 is 11. On the next combat, I would give her another counter, so then that would be 6, and she still gets that +0, +1/+0 until end of turn. So it's be 7, 7, and 7 doubled is 14 damage. 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, you're dead. Wow, way to go, me the Immortal. They have no cards in hand. There's nothing they can do. They'll stack block the first hit. These all get destroyed, and then you take 3. Then now there's another combat. I'm going to tick this up. 7 damage coming at you. You have no blockers, and it's actually 14 damage, whatever it was. And you are Kaboosh. Wow, that was a close one. I really thought Slivers was going to take it away again and possibly win the 100. So now me the Immortal is the threat by quite a bit. We also made a treasure token, a tapped treasure token. And the thing is, we still have the Spores Frog, which was really great. So anytime anybody wants to try and attack us, we can stop them. We're going to move to our end step. We're still the Monarch, so we draw a card, and we pass turn. Wait a second, sorry. Whenever a modified creature deals damage, we forgot that once. We're not going to forget it again. We'll go ahead and put a battlefield tapped, shuffle, and now we pass turn. Alright, so we untap. A couple things happen. We're going to put a counter on Darksteel Reactor. Each opponent's going to lose 1 life. We're going to gain 2 off of it. But then because they lost 2, we're going to gain 2 off of Exquisite Blood. And then we're going to give them a choice. Do you want to take 3 damage or discard a card? Me, the Immortal, will discard a Terramorphic Expanse. We don't really care about mana right now. And unfortunately, I think we're going to take the 3 because we want to keep that for... No one's really coming at us over here in the series, so we kind of want to just keep our heads down and hold that board wipe in reserve. But unfortunately, that board wipe is also a sorcery. But anyway, because they took the 3, we gain 3. Now we draw for turn. Well, darn it. Drowned Catacombs, but it does come in tapped because I still don't control a swamp or a island. Alright, so if we tap 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, and a black. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the black. Then we exile Pelarg and Narsari from the graveyard. Then we craft the Tithing Blade into Consuming Spelunker. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Unfortunately, as we've said, I can't get through. So I have these perfect setups to just go crazy and gain a ton of life. Me, the Immortal, is probably going to smack me down. Because the first strike and trample just make it so that she just gets through. And the double damage, yeah, she's probably got this game. I have nothing in hand or on the board that can, no board wipes or targeted removal right now. We're going to go ahead and pass. Should be turn 8. So we untap over here. Draw. Is it a creature? No. Well, it's another foggy kind of thing. We're going to do it. We're going to move to combat. I'm going to swing both of these at you because I need some triggers. That is going to go make Beast Master's Ascension go up by 2, and then Horn of the Mark says whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature card. You may reveal a creature card from among them, put it into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And there is nothing but lands and a sorcery that draws cards, which would have been nice, but yep, they all go to the bottom. That was, it wasn't a waste because it chopped through all that. But that kind of negates my thought process because obviously she's going to block the 2/2 dog, destroying it, and she'll take the 4. 2, 3, 4. Because the idea was to get a creature played on second main phase and have a whole bunch of tokens pop in to replace the one that was going to get killed. But yeah, wow, that sucks. All right, be the Immortal it is. We're going to pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. We're going to play Cathedral of War. It enters tapped, but it has Exalted. Whenever a creature attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. I'm going to sacrifice Command Sphere to draw a card. Cool, that's a land. They're all kind of stalling out with the impressive stuff. We're going to move to combat, obviously. We're going to uptick her 1, and it's now 7 mana, or 7 mana. It's a 7/7 that's going to hit for 14 because it has trample in addition to everything else. So it's going to swing at you. You're the threat with all that upkeep garbage going on. And it's menace, so you have to block with both of your creatures, which will both die, and you'll take 14, and then there's going to be another thing, and you've already got some damage. Let's see how much you got from her. You've already got 3 from her. Yeah, we'll block. The toughness is 7, so only 7 gets through. Only. That puts us at 10 total commander damage from me, the Immortal. She connected. Now, that actually probably means we should be searching twice, because each time we have a combat, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, it doesn't say once per turn. So we missed out on that. That's a good learning lesson. So this combat and damage, we will get a tapped forest and shuffle. Then we're going to move to our second main phase. We then tap 2 red, 1, 2, 3 to activate, to untap all creatures you control. If it's a main phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase after this one. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and tap 1, 2, 3, 4 and tap Karn's Bastion to proliferate. Then we move to the second combat, which will uptake it again, so that it's now a 9, so it's hitting for 18. We swing at you. You have 28 commander damage. Unfortunately, dear Obeka, you are done. So another good lesson learning here. We need to get a couple more things into Obeka that gets her unblockable. I'll go back through for sure, but I'm almost positive we have Trailblazer Boots, Whisper Silk Cloak, Rogue's Passage in here, but we need probably a couple more. Not sure how many there are, if they exist or whatever. But that's that. There's no life gain, unfortunately. Or the Monarch, we're going to draw a card for turn and pass. What can we do over here, dear Red and Siri? Draw for turn. Well, at least it's finally a thing. But you know what? I don't want to drag the game out, but this is how we got to play it. We got to be smart. So 1, 2, and 2 white to play Depopulate. Each player who controls a multicolored creature draws a card. I will draw a card. You will also draw a card. Then destroy all creatures. So Rin Siri goes back. Unfortunately, she did die once before, so it's actually going to cost 4 more to recast. She keeps all the counters. That was it 6? However, she also died once before, so she costs 4 more to cast. Spore Frog no longer has any help, and we no longer have the double damage or the trample effects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We only have 5 mana available. It's actually not enough to do anything. Well, yeah, it would be foolish not to just wait anyway. So we pass. 8 or 9. I think that was 9. Gotta move this over here. We untap. We upkeep. We draw. The nice thing is, of course, we've got plenty of mana. So 1, 2, 3, 4, just to cover commander attacks. Then blue, green, red, and 2 more. So I guess we should do this so we have some options to recast me, the Immortal, coming in with her 6 counters. I will play a forest for turn because I haven't. We're going to go ahead and tap a green, a red, and 2 others to play Halan and Elena Partners. 2/3, first strike, reach. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put X +1/+1 counters on another target creature where X is Hala and Elena's power. That creature gains haste until end of turn. Well, that's probably, it's not going to be it, but that's pretty solid. So we move to combat. We're going to put a counter on her based on her own ability, and then we put X counters where X is Elena's power, which is 2. So that's now 9, 10, 11, 12. And she gains haste until end of turn. So hey, cool. We're going to swing 9, 10, 11, 12 at commander damage at you. So you're down to 13 and you cannot take another hit from her. And we pass turn. Wow, even with that awesomely timed board wipe, like you held on to it all that time, but nope. Turn 10, we untap, draw. I don't even know that it's really worth it, but sure. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the tax, then green, white, red, 1 other to recast Rin and Siri. But yeah, we've literally got 1 mana left. We can't do anything else with it. And she has Menace, so that's pretty much game because we pass turn. She untaps, upkeep, draw. Sure, we'll play this land, move to combat. She'll go up to 10 by herself, and then that's going to be another 12, or another 2, making it 12, 13, 14. She's a 15 with Menace, Vigilance, and First Strike. We swing, you can't block. Kabosh. There you have it. Episode 99. Me, the Immortal, pulls out the win away from Slivers and shuts down Obeka. Poor Rin and Siri. It was a poor showing. I'm sad to say. Up until now, all of the decks have done really well, doing what they do, showing off a little bit. One of them pulls ahead. This time, Rin and Siri kind of just sat there, head down, and still didn't pull out the win. Sometimes you get that sort of situation, and that person that you've been leaving alone finally builds up the board state and swings in and wins. I'm not sure how it would have felt if Rin and Siri had taken the win. Because of that, it might have felt a little cheap, so I'm glad that Me the Immortal pulled it off and was pretty solid the whole game anyway. All three of these, really, were doing quite well. It's just that Obeka couldn't get in. She had a great board state for her upkeeps, and even without extra upkeeps, she was still doing a lot of damage and gaining life. It's just we needed to start swinging her in, and we couldn't because it was just too slow. And even then, which is crazy because on turn 4, she was going to be able to swing. But unfortunately, that is kind of at the point where everyone should have 1 or 2 creatures out. 1 creature, no big deal, she's got Menace, but everyone had a couple little creatures out, so I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you come back one more time, minimum, of course, for the Road to 100. Next episode, the 100th episode of the Unskilled Commander. Me, the Immortal, will still be here. 3 other decks vying for the championship. Who will win it all? Come back and I will see you next time.